So do keep watching my videos because they're superior.
News. London Transport say they may have to close the underground system due to an infestation of horses.
Loads of horses, at least 30 I'd say. As the train approaches, they start running away from the train.
And what the drivers say they fear most of all is a head-on collision with a blind tube man.
What's up, YouTube? Hello, it's me. Hello. So I had a good idea. I thought that as I've got most views on my channel for watching Stuart Lee, I thought, why not have a look at other people reacting to Stuart Lee and see if they're doing it properly? Because, you know, I think we need a bit of quality control. So I've picked out this guy, and he's called King Boomer. I've watched quite a lot of his stuff. He is quite funny, and he is, you know, I don't know. I haven't really put in the research on whether he's any good at reacting to Stuart Lee, but let's have a look and see how he does with this. This is King Boomer, Americans react, or there's only actually one of him, so that's a mistake. Stuart Lee and Top Gear reaction. And yeah, let's just dive into this and let's see what Stuart Lee has to say. I mean, I don't want to keep going on because it's a bit boring watching the person talk before the actual reaction begins, which is why I've cut out the his preamble. It just goes on and on, doesn't it? They sit there, they don't like, subscribe, hit the notifications button, and you think, just get on with the reaction, for God's sake. I'm fed up with looking at your ugly old face while you sit there and talk into a microphone, frankly. So just get on with it. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do now.
So without further ado, folks, here we go. Stuart Lee and his take on Top Gear. Let's check it out.
I think the problem I have as a kind of frustrated, bitter, politically correct, middle-aged liberal is I can't work out which one of the three Top Gear presenters to despise the most. You'd think it would be Jeremy Clarkson, wouldn't you, with his outrageous politically incorrect opinions, which he has every week to a deadline in the Sunday Times. Almost as if they weren't real. But it isn't, right?
You should have laughed more at that.
You know, I think about Jeremy Clarkson, right, is I think he's either an idiot or a genius, right? He's either an idiot who actually believes all the badly researched, lying, offensive shit that he says, or he's a genius who's worked out exactly the most accurate way to annoy me.
Maybe both. Maybe both.
In which case, fair play to him.
Good comment.
You're God. So it isn't him, the Top Gear presenter that I hate the most. And he's someone who I think on balance I hate more than anyone who's ever lived, actually.
Wow.
And it's Richard the Hamster Hammond, actually.
I love the way so many Americans, or I mean, this guy might be Canadian, let's give him the benefit of the doubt, just take things at face value. Because Stuart Lee says, you know, I hate him more than anyone who's ever lived. And he's like, wow, whoa, really? That's a bit much, Mr. Stuart Lee.
I hate him more than anyone who's ever lived, and fictional characters. Like,
He had to add fictional characters in there. Wow, that's an extreme level of hate, sir.
Skeletor, if you remember him. Nah, I hate him. I hate Richard the Hamster Hammond, right? Because he's not a real hamster, is he? What he is, he's a man, right, who's been able to carve out a best-selling literary career off the back of his own inability to drive safely. Yeah? 'Cause he had that crash, didn't he, in that dragster, and then he wrote this book about it, On the Edge, and it sold millions. And I think there's something a little bit undignified and cynical about all these celebrities writing these cash-in books about some dreadful thing that happens to them. You know, I think there's an undignified degree of cynicism in it. Yeah, to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if, when he'd had that crash, Richard Hammond, and he was hanging upside down, waiting to be rescued in that dragster, he wasn't thinking to himself, "Oh, I'm quite badly injured in this. I can do a book about it, it'll sell loads." I'm not saying that he did think that.
He's not laughing enough at that. That is really funny. And even though the audience are only starting to laugh as they get their heads around it, he is way behind them, isn't he? It's not good.
I'm just saying there does seem to be an element of cynicism in it, doesn't there? No, I wouldn't be surprised if when he was hanging upside down waiting to be rescued, he wasn't thinking to himself, "Oh, I hope I get some brain damage." And forget loads of my life. And then on Richard and Judy's book club, my attractive wife can come on and help me to remember it, and it'll create a tender scene. Look, I'm not saying that he did think that. I'm just saying that there's a degree of cynicism in those books, isn't there? And what's worse, I think, is that book, On the Edge, it sold millions. And it was published through Weinfeld and Nicholson, and it shouldn't have been. It should have come out through BBC World, the commercial arm of the BBC, because you and me, the licence payers, we funded that crash. Yeah? We did.
We funded that crash.
Yes, it was funny, wasn't it?
Oh, this guy's brilliant, man.
And therefore, we are entitled to feel the benefit of any profits derived from it. Yeah? Yeah. And Richard the Hamster Hammond.
Yeah.
Richard the
He
Hamster
knows that.
Hammond.
But he went and he wrote that book.
No, wait. We've already established he's called the Hamster. You can't then start finding that funny. Too late.
I think it's a cynical thing to do, and I hate him for it, and I wish he'd been killed in that crash. I do.
You can't just pull a face. You've got to say something intelligent, like I would.
Oh my God.
I wish he'd been killed and
Oh man.
and decapitated,
Oh my God.
and that the next series of Top Gear had been presented by Jeremy Clarkson, James May, and Richard Hammond's severed head on a stick.
So do I.
And if that seems a bit much for all the Top Gear viewers, it's just a joke, like on Top Gear. You know, when they do their jokes, which you like, don't you? It's just a joke. The Jeremy Clarkson defence is just a joke. So when I said...
You see, with me, you get that. You saw that reaction. I reacted to him just turning and walking away slightly because I got what he was trying to do there. That's what you get with one of my reactions. It's a proper intellectual reaction, I'd say.
That I wished Richard Hammond had been decapitated and killed, right? Like when they do their jokes on Top Gear, it was just a joke. But coincidentally, as well as it being a joke, it's also what I wish had happened. Because I hate Richard the Hamster Hammond. He's not even a real hamster. If he was a real hamster, and so I went, do you know a hamster has survived a 280-mile-an-hour dragster crash and advertised Morrison's, admittedly with a glazed expression. You go, that's a good hamster. But he isn't a hamster. He's not even a hamster. He's nothing. He's worse than a hamster. Because Jeremy Clarkson, your spiritual king, at least...
He's worse than a hamster.
Spiritual king.
Spiritual king. Wrong thing to laugh at, isn't it?
I'm loving this roast right now.
At least he has the guts, doesn't he, to stand there personally expressing his stupid, offensive opinions, right? But Richard the Hamster Hammond doesn't do that, does he? He just stands next to Jeremy Clarkson, giggling. Blah, 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 gypsies. Gypsies. Imagine being a gypsy. The caravan. Not even in a car. Blah, blah, lesbians. Imagine being a lesbian. Blah, blah, the Welsh. Imagine being Welsh and not being English. He's nothing. He's like a horrible little shit weasel kid at school. Hanging around with all the bullies, laughing at their jokes in the hope they won't pick on him. He's a horrible little shit weasel piece of shit, nothing, hanging around with the bullies, laughing at their jokes, licence payer funded, apologist for institutionalised bullying, and I hate it. Picture the scene, the Top Gear Christmas night out, Jeremy Clarkson, James May, Richard the Hamster Hammond, not a real hamster, they're on the South Bank, 2 o'clock in the morning, running along the embankment drunk, gypsies, and Jeremy Clarkson.
Gypsies.
He's going off, dude. Oh, this is fantastic. Is that what he's known to you guys, Richard the Hamster Hammond?
Yes.
Jeremy Clarkson
It is.
A homeless man asleep by the river. And that homeless man's probably Scottish, remember? He is. Glasgow. And one of you is just having a sleep in the street at Christmas, like anyone would. And Jeremy Clarkson sees the Scottish homeless man for a joke to satirise the old loony left, politically correct nutters. He decides to kick him to death, right? So he's going, come on, Richard Hammond, kick this tramp to death. Come on, it's a joke. Come on, this will annoy the sour-faced dykes at the Guardian. Come on, stamp on a tramp's head, Richard Hammond. This will annoy Amnesty International. Kick him right up in the guts. Come on, Richard. Kick him to death, Richard Hammond. Come on, this will upset the grieving relatives of Stephen Gately.
See, I can't even remember who Stephen Gately is, but at least I laughed.
Oh my lord.
And Richard Hammond's going, no, I'll just stand here and film it on my camera phone. Ha 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 ha. Gypsies, ha.
Yeah, well, that's enough because I've judged him, and you know it was a good attempt, but a poor display, in my opinion. You can't just laugh at something while filming yourself. You've got to have a certain weight of intellectual research and a thorough grasp of, in many ways, the geopolitical situation in which the comedian you're watching has been spawned from. And if you haven't got that, then there's no point, really, is there? So do keep watching my videos because they're superior. Whereas other people's reactions, as we've seen, I think you'll find, are sadly lacking and frankly pathetic. You know, sorry, King Boomer, I know you're doing your best, but don't do it again. Don't bother, because Yeah, all right, you've got 119,000 subscribers. Shit. But that doesn't mean you're successful. I mean it does in terms of YouTube, but it doesn't mean you're better. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you can, if you will, please. And I'll don't nobody go nowhere.